The following is a Journey into Comics Network production.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Journey into Comics.
Brando, dude, we have a lot of Walking Dead to talk about today.
We do.
And it's weird because people are like, you have a lot of Walking Dead to talk about? What the shit? There was only one issue. Yeah, but did you watch the videos, by the way? Did you get to those?
To finish,
yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. I totally forgot to ask you that before we started. So Brando and I have finally read Here's Negan. We're going to talk about that first, probably.
Yeah.
And then we'll end on 172 talk here, and then we got a couple little other things for you. But this was a really interesting story because you only got it in little bursts, 5 pages at a time. And to overarch the story before we kind of dive into some of the issues and some of the things we learn about Negan that maybe people don't know, to me, the thing that was kind of bizarre is I felt like they didn't end it late enough in his story. Like, I wanted a little bit more from it. And not that they didn't do a good job, but like I felt like they could have, maybe that last panel was a little cheesy, is maybe what I'm getting at.
It was, but I was very happy with it. I was worried when they said that they were going to do this because how many characters in the main story, like their background hasn't been fully fleshed out. Like, I mean, you can even look at, like, they've talked about Michonne's.
But we haven't got a deep dive.
Well, and I guess in the TV show, they went a little bit further.
Yeah.
Actually showcasing some flashbacks and stuff. And which I guess you can argue like the show going into her character arc that much, it's kind of like why her character is a little bit more open in the TV show.
Okay.
And hence to why maybe she's in a relationship with Rick in the show.
I like that.
In comparative, like, to the comic, it's like she's very closed off to a lot. But with Negan, what we have is you have essentially who is the second big bad of the story, turned anti-hero at this point.
Majorly.
Very popular character. And you've got to find a way to look at who he was before and bring him around to where he is when we first meet him. Very difficult task. I don't know if I would have been able to succeed at that. But I felt like that Kirkman did. Simply by making him kind of a scumbag in real life, like before everything happened. He was kind of a piece of shit. And
he was the worst gym teacher you can imagine.
But I mean,
but not the worst.
Like, you can't just make him like the governor who was like an everyday, hey, yeah, I'm a good guy, a factory worker. And then now I've kind of lost it, right? Just in how Negan presents himself and how he's been characterized. You have to take good care with his backstory and its crafting and to instantly make him recognizable, at least. Like, in other words, like, yes, this world has changed him, but we get to see how that world changed him, and it wasn't really the world changing him. It was the world changing and other people not being able to adapt to it like he was.
Yeah, he kind of, we can, really dive into this a little bit. So to kind of go and kind of build these blocks, we find Negan is this gym teacher. He's kind of the, cusses at his students, gym teacher, makes fun of them, kind of the bully gym teacher prototype or archetype, as it were. He also has a wife. who he finds out has cancer. And then he immediately goes and fucks his mistress and tells her that his wife has cancer, which makes things even more complicated.
She tells him, get the hell out of here. Oh, it's over.
Yep. And then
You're a piece of shit. And he goes, took you that long to figure it out, huh?
Yeah, he's like, wow, great. Finally arrived, have we? Like, thanks for finally joining us at the Negan shit show. And then his wife is really, it's really bizarre because it's like she knows. She's known the whole time, maybe. And she goes, it took you.
Well, like, because he says that he broke it off.
Yeah.
He goes, I broke it off with her. I want to be with you. And she's like, are you fucking idiot?
Yeah, like, I'm the one that's dying. What are you thinking?
You chose me. Yeah, he goes, and he's like, I realize that you're who I want, and I want to be with you. And, and I want us to be together. And she goes, well, that's not going to be very long.
Correct. And I felt it was interesting because I don't know if you noticed this, but I don't think he says her name except for one time. And it's the shit is hitting the fan moment of here's Negan's story, because now we are back at the start of the outbreak. And we're in a different person's perspective now. It's from Negan's eyes, and he's with his wife, and she's in the hospital, getting obviously worse by the second. The doctors are like... Oh, go ahead.
He is the second characters so far in The Walking Dead whose story started in the hospital.
Rick.
That's kind of a cool little dichotomy there.
Yes, it is, very much so. They're way more similar than we realize. It's interesting, too, because Rick also lost his wife that he really loved, and it kind of drove him to be the Rick he is now, which isn't the Rick he is now anymore. That's bizarre to say. But so Negan is in the hospital, and he's like, I'm not leaving my fucking wife. Or no, whatever. They're like, okay, fine, fuck you, we're going. Like, we're going to leave you in this hospital. You're going to have to fend for yourself. Good luck. And she dies. And he is very sad, and he's crying, and he has this moment with her, and it's bizarre because it was the most selfless we've seen Negan in the entire series, most likely, because he decided to stay with her when really he could have abandoned her. She was going to die anyways, and then she does, but he stays with her in her final moments. And then she reanimates. And now Negan is like Lucille, and you finally hear, boom, there's her name. There we have it. Now there's the connection. Now we know officially that this bat that we've gotten so much story in the book with, and why it's so important to Negan, now we get the backing up of the importance, and it solidified it. It was really cool. Negan starts to kind of just find people and say, sure, I'll help you survive. Let's do it. Except for everybody fucking sucks.
Yeah, they all die. It's almost like a montage. It's like he meets them, and then like a panel or two later, they're dead. It's like he meets them. You get a whole thing of, hey, blah, 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 and then they're dead.
Yeah, and then finally, deeper into the story, we meet a guy named Dwight. And I loved when that finally took place, because it's like, hey, I'm Dwight. And Dwight is kind of the leader of this group of Saviors 1.0 before they were officially Saviors, because, of course, that Negan makes that official.
They were survivors.
They were just survivors, correct. Thank you. So it was interesting that Dwight, they introduce each other, and then Negan's like, okay, well, I'm going to join you guys, but you got to want to fucking have it. You got to want to live. Everybody else I've been around, they just fucking die, and I can't do it anymore. Like, every fucking person dies, and I'm so sick of it. And think about that for Negan. He was living his life in this moment. He has it all. He's this whole situation going on, and then it's abruptly taken from him. Cuts ties with the mistress, loses his wife. The world starts to end. He's got to kind of figure it out on his own. every person he tries to connect with. I think there's even a girl maybe he's dating at one point for like a short hot minute that he has with him, and she gets bit, and he's like, are you fucking kidding me? How long ago was it that you got bit? Die. Just fuck off. Like, I'm gone. I'm so over this. And I loved that scene from Negan because it was just him throwing his hands in the air and going, this is unfucking believable. Like, why doesn't anybody want to live as much as I do in this fucked up world now? I think that's really what drives him to be who he becomes.
When Dwight brings him in, they start introducing themselves. He goes, yeah, I'll learn your names if you guys live a few weeks, and then I'll remember them. For now, though, just keep doing what you're doing. Don't let me be a bother. And it shows you how much each time he brings somebody in, they all tell them who they are and they share their story, and Negan gets emotionally invested into these people.
Yeah,
it's like he's a hard ass. He's a badass guy, but then once he starts getting to know people, then he tries to help them, and then one by one they all die. And then that just like he gets to a point where he's had enough. He can't do it anymore. He can't lose anybody else.
Yeah.
And then he gets a. We actually missed the entire rundown with the group wherein he's trying to get gas for his car. I love that scene. He's trying to get gas, and they're all like, "Hey, we think you got our gas there." And he's like he says something like, "Because I think I'm about ready to open up some vengeance on you, or whatever." He tries to be cool about it, and he realizes that he he said it wrong and it wasn't cool. He goes, "Let's start again."
Yeah, and it's funny because he makes the hilarious putting of things together. He's like, This is your gas? Where's your car? Do you guys even know how to hotwire a car? Do you know how to do anything? I don't think so. He laughs them off. It's great.
And then they all die because they're sitting at camp, and that's when Negan first had to shoot a gun is with these people, and shoots like a rabbit or something, and he's just blabbering on having a good time. And then they get surrounded, and then he's kind of yelling at them as they're all dying. He's like, "You couldn't tell me we were surrounded?
Why am I just finding this out right now? What the fuck?" Everybody sucks in a crisis, I guess. So we'll move a little bit forward. We're with the Saviors here, and not Saviors, Survivors 1.0. I got to remember that. That's very important. It just happened. It's so ingrained in there that they're the Saviors because that's the group they are. We see a lot of the different members. There's I can't think of his name, but he's with Sherry's group, the black guy with the fucked up eye. He's in the early goings of that. Sherry's obviously there. Dwight's there. And I can't remember exactly what is said or what the lead up is, but one of the dudes in the group essentially just says, even if the woman says no, you can still take it because that's the world we live in now.
The dude tries to Negan. We get the story of Negan getting his leather coat for the first time, with him just picking it up, and he's offering it to this girl, saying, "Hey, you look cold. It's all right. I'll grab a blanket or something." And Negan being a genuinely nice guy here,
yeah.
And then this guy goes, "Saw you looking at the merchandise. Maybe I'll let you, try a sample or something." And Negan is like, "Excuse the fuck out of me? What did you say?" No. I heard what you said. He's like, "Don't even say shit because I heard what you said, and I know how you meant it. And that shit's not gonna fly around here now. You understand? I'm the guy in charge." Basically, Negan slowly starts taking charge of Dwight's group, and how that ends up happening is it's just people see him surviving, being a badass at doing so, and therefore when he's like, "All right, let's go, follow me," and he just does it, and everyone starts following him. And there's even like this. There's even a panel where Dwight's like bitching about it to Sherry. Oh, so he's in charge now? She goes, "Whoever said you were in charge? Somebody has an idea, and we all agree to it."
Yep, and whatever the best idea is, we're going to go with it. Just because he made the idea doesn't automatically make him in charge.
But
it does.
He takes it. Because when that dude says what he says, Negan takes it into his hands. And he beats the fuck out of this guy with the bat.
Lucille's first taste.
Well, actually, they have like a scuffle first, right?
Yeah.
They had like a little scuffle where they end up like hitting each other a few times. And this dude pushes Negan into the barbed wire. Because they have like a little barbed wire fence wrapped around them. Try and protect them from like, the walkers guy coming in. And Negan like pulls himself out of the barbed wire, grabs the bat, and then proceeds to beat this guy's brains in. By the way, if you can hear that, that is the wash going.
I can't hear anything.
Well, I mean, you might be able to pick it up on my end.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Just so you know, I mean, podcasting, laundry, it's all a part of the of the day here at good old Studio B. But that's life with a toddler, man.
Hey, you got to do laundry sometimes.
But yeah, we get to see Lucille's first victim. Well, I guess he's beaten up a few people with it. But has he actually bashed a dude's brains in like this?
No, this is his first soiree into Vampire Bat, I think.
I absolutely love the writing for Negan here. Because then, like, he's starting to say something. And then he stops. And he goes over, rips some of that barbed wire, and wraps it around the bat.
Which is actually the very first panels of the book. Here's Negan. Yes. Which I loved the wraparound.
And then he starts walking with the bat on his shoulder, quite like he does later on. But now he's given this speech about how things are different. He's in charge. He goes, "You're with me? Fine. Awesome. We'll protect you." He goes, "You want to hurt us? You're going to end up like this motherfucker down here." He's not playing around anymore.
No. And I loved that he also, I think it's important to note that he kind of was like, okay, so I know that what you just saw was real fucked up, but I'm trying to make a difference here. And that shit wasn't cool, and it shouldn't have been cool at the jump. And I had to make him an example. He doesn't really say all of that, but in so many Negan words, that's kind of where his mind goes. And then I love that someone's like, well, how do you know that things are going to be different? And then that's the kind of the last panel, which I thought was cheesy. And it was fitting, though, because he says, "Here's Negan" is like his final line. Which is kind of like, "Here's Johnny," but here's Negan, which is exactly how I read it, like Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Sandra. I heard that they might actually incorporate some of the Here's Negan story into the season of The Walking Dead or the coming seasons of The Walking Dead.
I cannot wait for that now. Now that I've actually read the story all the way through, and I've seen what it details, I would love this to be a full-on hour-and-a-half special like we got with Morgan, was it two seasons ago now, where we had that one episode that took an entire break from the entire story just to tell us his story from when he stopped being goofy, crazy, and his rehabilitation. I would love for them just to take us on a ride with Jeffrey Dean Morgan playing Negan, and we get to see the entire arc of this. We get to see this entire book played out in like an episode.
God, that would be radical.
I would absolutely love it. I think I read a lot of the dialogue exactly the way he would say it, and with his cadence, and I cannot wait to see what he would do with it.
Interesting. I was going to say something. Of course, my brain sometimes doesn't always work. Oh, it'd be awesome if they called the episode Here's Negan.
Yeah.
I mean, just, as a little
Boom.
extra Easter egg there. Boom, handled, done. You can take that one, Walking Dead. I'll give it to you for free, because you probably already thought that was what you were going to do.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of The Puhr Report. I am your host, Andrew Puhr, and I want to thank you for joining me. So this is Pence's trip to Indianapolis, which occurred for the Indianapolis Colts game, which was on Sunday. For those of you listening, it was a few days ago. While I was recording it, it was yesterday. So Vice President Pence had planned on going to Indianapolis to see the Colts play and to see Peyton Manning get his number retired as part of the halftime show. So he prepared this, had his whole team come out, or like his whole, not the team, not the Indianapolis Colts, but had the whole Secret Service come with him and do the sweep of Lucas Oil Stadium, had all of his staff and everything, stayed up in a hotel overnight, flew him all the way from, I think at the time he was in Las Vegas, flew him from Las Vegas to Indianapolis, did all that and stuff. He was able to praise on Twitter that he was going to the game to support one of his hometown proud people, because as all of you know, before he was vice president, he was the governor of Indiana. So he goes in saying, let's do this, and then the national anthem came. And for those of you who know, Indianapolis Colts were playing the San Francisco 49ers, and the 49ers were the first team to kneel for the national anthem, starting with Colin Kaepernick about a year ago. So by doing this, Pence stated the fact that like Trump and Pence had talked that he was, if it came up that anyone kneeled for the national anthem, he would leave. So, lo and behold, he went all the way there, sitting in his nice booth up at the top, and none of the Indianapolis Colts players kneeled, but as expected, a handful of San Francisco 49ers players kneeled during the national anthem. So, him and his whole team got up, walked out, and left, and then put on Twitter how the president and I will not allow this behavior to happen. The players and everyone should respect the flag and our troops, and made this whole big statement and turned this whole event he was going out for into just a stupid political stunt. He knew what was happening going in, and he chose to spend, and this is what my paper said, was that the price tag for Pence's trip to Indianapolis was $242,500. So he spent almost $250,000 just to make a political statement. And this whole thing even overshadowed Peyton Manning's number getting retired, because all the articles that came out of the Indianapolis Colts game was about Pence walking out right after the national anthem and then getting on his plane and flying off again. It's just kind of ridiculous that he would go through all this trouble, waste all this taxpayer money just to be a lackey for President Trump's hard stance against the NFL. And this isn't even the first time that Pence has done this. He pulled a similar stunt when he went and saw the Broadway show Hamilton in New York after Trump was elected. And everyone knows that administration has a strong stance on immigration, and the governor has made a lot of statements while he was governor about homosexuality in the state of Indiana, and there was that whole issue with businesses had the right to refuse to do like weddings or services for people of the homosexual nature. So going to a very liberal theater crowd to see a musical about immigrants and the founding of America by the creator who is of Puerto Rican descent, Lin-Manuel Miranda, And then, of course, if anyone knew from that story from many months ago now, the lead who played Hamilton gave a speech to Vice President Pence directly from the stage, and then Trump made this big statement about how the cast and the theater should apologize to Pence and his administration and everything, and it was just a big thing, and Trump was able to milk that for everything he got out of it. So this is just really ridiculous for me that he knew well going into the game that the 49ers were likely going to kneel. His just showing up wasn't going to change anything. It probably would have made it worse. Just like weeks ago when Trump really went after the NFL saying, like, owners should fire any player that kneels. And then, lo and behold, the next day, many, many, many more players from all teams kneeled or chose to stand with locked arms or chose not even come out of the locker room during the national anthem, further driving this divide between the people that strongly support Trump and everything it stands for and people who just want to watch football. And typically, I feel like most Americans love football, and this has caused a major divide with people who really love their team and people who are very conservative and very for everything Trump says in his administration. And I've seen plenty of people on Facebook say, I'm not watching the NFL anymore. This is ridiculous. I hope the Bears win, but I'm not going to watch until people stop kneeling. And I'm sure, it's just ridiculous, the people that are doing this. And it seems crazy to waste all that money for a political stunt. And his staff even said to the press that were following them that you should probably just stay in the car. They probably won't be in there long. So they clearly went in knowing that this was just a political sideshow act. That he trotted out just to make this statement, just to make all the news articles giving Trump something else to talk about on Twitter and in front of the media and more things just to divert from everything else that's been going on, which is just, it's always just pivoting. That's what this whole administration seems to be doing. Whenever something happens that looks negative on them, they'll pivot or pull focus. And this reminded me of a quote from the TV show House of Cards on Netflix. It was one of the earlier seasons where Frank Underwood was then vice president. Spoilers for those of you who haven't watched House of Cards yet. He said, vice presidents are either doormats or matadors. And really with everything that's going on, which do you think Pence is?
Red meat, we crave sustenance.
Guys, we are not invading my aunt.
I love the Raw story.
What's up?
The Raw story.
Oh, yeah, that's actually a great thing because you're a foodie. You're watching a movie called Raw, you were telling us.
Yes.
Not where my mind went at all. I'm scrolling Facebook.
You and Keith Evans we're both in the same boat.
Did you think she was watching wrestling?
Fuck yes, I did, and I panicked.
Dork.
I panicked. I was like, oh my god, Lauren could be on Journey into Wrestling with us? Shit, I have to make that happen. And I went to comment like, girl, you got to get in on some wrestling. And I saw that Keith Evans had been like, wait, you watch wrestling? And then her comment was like, no, it's a movie. And I was like,
crushed.
Damn it. I was so certain. we were going to nerd
I saw
out.
that post and I was like, ooh, I bet Nate's going to think she's watching wrestling.
I did too. I was so excited. Also, like, Taco Bell posts are life. I love your Taco Bell posts because I have my Taco Bell a very, very specific way.
What's your order?
Oh, we're fast fooding it. Okay, so if I'm going to Taco Bell right now, I would probably get whatever their $5 box is at the time. Right now, it's like a chicken quesadilla with like a spicy jalapeno sauce.
I don't
but
like
it's
the spicy
So your
stuff.
order with Taco Bell varies based on what's in their $5 box.
sometimes I just like keep it basic. But there's some things that I always do. So like the $5 box typically comes with like two kinds of taco. It's like a soft shell taco and a burrito, or it's a soft shell taco and a hard shell taco, or it's a Doritos Los Tacos and a hard shell taco, or whatever. Whatever the combo is, I always get it beans instead of beef. I always get it no lettuce. Everything else, however they make it, I typically like it supreme with tomatoes and the sour cream. But the new wrap they have, or it's a quesadilla, has crispy chicken in the quesadilla. It's fucking unreal.
That sounds delicious.
It is delicious. What would you order from Taco Bell right now?
I don't go to Taco Bell all that often. It's been like a couple years since I've been to Taco Bell.
Wow.
Oh my god.
But
although I was in the same boat as you, probably up until like 2 or 3 months ago. That's when we got the first Taco Bell in Winfield, down where I work. So
Down there.
I
Way down there.
hadn't eaten Taco Bell probably in like the past like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I just don't know where the one is. But even when there was one nearby, I didn't go there all that often. But usually when I'd go, I'd get like 3 or 4 soft shell tacos, just with meat, cheese, and tomatoes, and then I'd put some mild sauce on it.
Oh, delicious.
That was always good. Nice quick on the go meal.
I always get a Nacho Bel Grande.
Damn, that's right. I love the
There's a
Nacho
fist
Bel
bump
Grande.
right there.
Add avocado.
Oh,
Or,
you speak
or add
my
guacamole.
language.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I was like, just straight avocado. Taco Bell doesn't have straight avocado.
No, they're not hipster enough
Add
for
guac.
that. They're not like Chipotle.
And guac.
Add
Chipotle?
guac, yes.
And guac.
Chipotle.
Chipotle.
What about you? V, what are you ordering from the Taco Bell drive-thru right now that we're in imaginarily?
Probably regrets. But, if I'm being honest.
Fuck, I wasn't expecting that. That was great. There was another fist bump.
I don't know. I'd probably get one of those caramel apple empanadas because they're delicious. And I would get some cheese roll-ups with mild sauce because
That's your jam.
that's my jam. That's
Yeah.
a nice,
So
easy
Nate-
thing.
Oh, sorry.
Won't make you sick or anything.
What are you gonna wash that down with?
Ooh.
They had a Starburst drink at one point, like it was like a slushy drink.
Really?
Yeah, the pink Starburst one, and that was really tasty. But otherwise, I'm just getting a Pepsi or a Coke, whatever.
Sounds
they
like
have
sugar,
about.
just like straight.
Oh, it was legit, straight up pure sugar.
I'm not
It was
going to lie,
delicious.
man. Train of Our Existence, what's up? And they're definitely going to hear that. All the mics are live picking that up. But honestly, I am a root beer fiend. Love root beer.
I don't like that it doesn't have any sugar in it, or it doesn't have any caffeine in it.
Yeah, I don't like root beer at all. I don't
I
jam
just
on
feel
the
like if I'm drinking
sarsaparilla.
pop, I might as well be getting caffeine from it. So
Right.
I guess that's a fair point, but I just love the taste.
Well, I could also say that that's a similar thing with ginger ale, but I love drinking ginger ale even though it's caffeine free.
yeah.
Yeah, see, so there are
To each his
root
own.
beer people, and there are ginger ale people, and I am a root beer person. What are you, AP? These two are ginger ale people.
I'm a
Looks
root beer
like.
person.
Yeah, hell yeah!
Another fist bump.
I have
Wow.
officially fist bumped the entire group of foodies today.
Nate's just a fan
In
of
the
fisting
first
today.
7 minutes. Wait, what did you just say? Did you just say I'm a fan of fisting?
I said Nate's a fan of fisting today.
Dick move. Not cool.
Let's talk about Saturday.
Right.
Let's talk about Saturday. I worked. I had a fun working morning where I only got 4 hours of sleep. Actually, I didn't have to go in at my normal time, which was 6. I went in at 8 and I worked till 12. So short shift, whatever.
Very short.
I thought I would get to sleep in, but still only got 4 hours of sleep, whatever. So I get off work and I immediately go eat lunch with my dad. Blah, blah, blah. Go home real quick, take a quick shower, come straight here because I thought we were leaving at 3.
Yeah. There was a little bit of miscommunication.
So we wait for our dear friend Chris Pilot,
The luscious lion.
the luscious lion, to get here at 3:30.
And then I was forced to drive the Crown Vic, which was the worst possible vehicle choice we could have used, because we spent $60 in gas.
Wow.
Of which I got paid only $30 from everyone else. It was an ass whooping, I'll tell you what. a monetary ass.
We drive this. Nick drives his Crown Vic, and I have a Subaru Crosstrek, and Chris has something.
A Prius.
Chris has a Prius, and we didn't take that.
Right.
What the hell? Why didn't even? I mean, I didn't offer either, but
I even tried.
I have
even
a
tried.
somewhat valid excuse of I can only drive so many miles a year, and I've pretty much used those miles this year.
God damn it!
And I still have a couple trips that I need to make.
Apparently, one of those was not to Chicago this past weekend. So we slam on up there.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, if it were me driving, I would not have been able to handle what we endured quite the way you did.
I'm a trooper when it comes to driving. So we got to Chicago.
And what were we gonna do?
Well, we were gonna go to Lagunitas Brewing Company to get some lunch and try some brews. It was apparently 2.5 miles from the venue. So it had been recommended by a friend whose opinion I trust completely. I said, you know what? I'm gonna force the crew to do it. Everyone was on board, so we went.
Yeah, we were totally forced. Like,
so first of all, just following the GPS led us to this rickety road in a really bad looking part of town, and we could see a building.
Looking part. Let's talk about the other senses.
So we're
the
getting
other 5
there.
senses.
We're gonna get there. And you could see off in the distance, a huge warehouse that had Lagunitas written on it.
Uh-huh.
But like, how the fuck do we get to that building? So we're following the GPS.
Yeah, because it took us to a dead end.
It took us to a dead end, and then so we're driving around in circles. We can't figure out what to do. We eventually find two people, that go driving down what we believed was a one-way road. So we just followed them. We're like, well,
fuck it.
If they're gonna get hit, then they're gonna get hit, not us.
YOLO.
So we follow them, and then we go driving all through this neighborhood where there's people parked in the middle of the road. And I'm not joking, folks. I'm talking about there's people parked on the side of the road, and then there's enough room for like one car to drive down the middle. But then some people were just parked in the middle of the road.
Yes.
People just hanging out on the porch. We saw people selling stuff out of their cars. When we finally get to Lagunitas, pull up to the side of the building in a terrible looking part of town. We jump out, almost step on a heroin needle. And it sounds like just some silly joke, but it was totally there.
Yeah. So and we see a sign says, "Hey, entrance, whatever." And so we start walking around the building, discover there's nothing over there.
So we turn around and we go the other way.
Where it looked like there was some kind of event going on.
Mind you, this whole time, Jess, one of the people that's with us, had twisted her foot really, really bad earlier in the day. Thought she broke her foot. So she's limping up and down the road.
Yes.
We're just lost trying to figure out what the fuck we're doing. We eventually find what we believe is an entrance. We go walking up, and before we get too close, there's a gentleman sitting in a chair, and he says, "Sorry, guys, we're closed today." And we all just kind of look off to the side a little bit, look up at the sky a little bit, just totally baffled.
Yeah, because I heard stuff going on in there.
There was music being played loudly. Yeah. It was like there was a special event going on, like a private event.
But they were closed. So we walked back down the nasty sidewalk. We jumped over. So down the sidewalk and over the heroin needle. Back to the car we go. And meanwhile, Jess is trailing. And
trailing,
limping behind us.
We eventually decide, we're just going to find some place else to go. Jess is the one that eventually finds a place for us to go. A Lulu. It was just 2 or 3 miles away, and it was still relatively close to the venue.
2-3 miles away. Tons of speed bumps in the middle of crazy, stupid streets with people parked in the middle of the road yet again. It was so...
Speed bumps every 20 feet.
Yeah, and there's a couple of... You can't see them. They're not marked very well at all.
I almost slammed the car over a couple of them. We joked at one point that if they just put a couple more speed bumps in, it would just be a raised road. They wouldn't be speed bumps anymore because there were already so many.
It'd be higher ground, yeah.
Maybe it was a dirt track, dirt bike track or something. We were just unaware of it.
Yeah, clearly it was. I think it was like a motocross
An obstacle
place,
course.
like right before the Great Chicago Fire,
Right,
hundreds
so
of years ago.
It was problematic.
Yes, but we eventually found the Alulu Brew Pub. It was a neat little place.
I definitely liked the vibe.
Yeah, I like the vibe. What'd they say about like the tables and stuff?
That when they had bought the spot and they were doing all their renovations, they repurposed all the wood. So for their clipboards, for the waitresses, it was repurposed wood. The bar, repurposed wood. They had maybe 6 or 7 tables in there, all repurposed wood. So on top of all the repurposed wood, they had the, little candles on the tables,
yeah,
the grass on the wall. And so it was a brew pub, and they had maybe it was 20 plus taps. I don't know if they had 20 different beers, but they definitely had a large beer selection. 2 of us got flights, which are just multiple different kinds of beers in tiny little sample glasses. So instead of just having one beer, you can try a bunch of different ones for all you out there who don't know what a flight is. And 4 out of the 5 that I had were really good. There was light beers, dark beers.
Yeah.
The oatmeal stout I had, it was just creamy. It was so tasty. The Oktoberfest sucked. That was the one that was like,
yeah.
I was like, whoa. But
I didn't enjoy mine. I had the Shad the Impaler. Or not
Yeah.
Shad the Impaler, Shad the Calmer. Totally different.
Totally different things.
Totally different things on completely opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yeah. Shad's alternate personality.
I think. Yeah. I think I was thinking Vlad.
Yeah, definitely.
Oops.
Definitely.
Shad the Calmer, which was a APA. I think it was like 35 IBU.
Yeah, it was very sessionable. It wasn't that. It was good.
I guess I think I said it there. I didn't have it didn't have a bold enough flavor for me.
I can understand that. I think I gave it a 2.75 out of 5 on Untapped.
Okay.
So it's all right.
The food was okay.
Yeah, it was definitely.
The thing I've noticed
upscale.
about these brew pubs and breweries is like when they have food is like they try to fancy it up so hard,
really hard.
Like I didn't understand half of the food that was on there. The only thing I really recognized word wise was poutine and pork.
And I totally got the poutine.
Barbecue.
It was so good.
That barbecue sauce on my on the pork shoulder thing that I had, it was really good.
Yeah.
That was really good.
My frites were good.
My frites were good too, along with the sour cream or it was like a French onion like dip that they gave me along with our tangy tomato paste.
Tomato paste.
Ketchup. It was ketchup.
It was totally ketchup.
But we had to fancy up the words.
See, everything was great there until the waitress decided she didn't want to, do her job anymore. Took us forever to get out of there.
The service was not the best.
No. But then we made it to the show. We missed Tooth Grinder.
And that bummed me out so hard because I love Tooth Grinder.
Yeah.
I've seen him twice now opening up for 36 Crazy Fists.
I was pretty disappointed in myself.
Oh, well, it happens. I mean, I managed to talk to one of the members. I think his name's Matt.
Mm-hmm.
I told him about the Doom Room, and I let him know that of a booking you made.
Yeah, we did talk about that.
Or possible booking you made.
It's in the works.
I told him, I was like, hey, hit us up. I don't know how you feel about basement shows, but we do other shows too.
Right. We can make it work.
Yeah. And he seemed all about it. He's like, dude, we're about to come out with a new CD and have our own headlining tour. And he's like, when we do our headlining tour, we get to pick the places.
We should send them a message reminding them.
Do it.
But that was so the show was at the Bottom Lounge.
Yeah.
That was the first time I'd ever been to the Bottom Lounge.
As soon as I walked in, I was like, this is awesome.
Totally sold.
Oh,
from
yeah.
the moment I walked in.
And, of course, I look on the list of drafts, and they have Zombie Dust, so I'm definitely okay.
Right. Yeah, they had 50 different beers.
Mm-hmm. And what was the beers that you were really into?
The Pipeworks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the Ninja versus Unicorn.
I love craft beer names.
Yeah, I got that, and then a Gumball Head. I love Gumball Head on draft.
I've never liked Gumball Head.
You're missing out, man.
I've never liked it.
Yeah. So this place was it looked like an old warehouse.
Yeah.
Well, it looked like that's what it was, but it was renovated so well. It had a bunch of old pinball machines. It looked like it had another upstairs area for private events.
Uh-huh.
And then a totally separate room for the venue. So you had to walk through double doors to get into the place where the music was being played, and it had a bar. But then it was, I bet you they've got a 1,000 cap in there, maybe.
And it was packed.
And it was totally, absolutely packed.
Totally packed. It was sold out. I think it was sold out because Between the Buried and Me played both nights.
Yep.
Or 2 nights, and it was sold out both nights.
Yeah. I wish I could have gone to the other one, too. I wish I could just follow them around.
Our buddy Jake did. Jake Quintilla.
He went to both?
No, he went to the next night.
Oh.
Him and, I always forget his name.
Jason Schultz.
Yeah, Jason.
Yep.
Who I ran into. I ran into him at the Walk Among Us show about a couple weeks ago. Where, my weekend of podcasting where I recorded Journey into Comics episode 156 and Podcastrophe episode 4. We went to the Walk Among Us show that night, and he just showed up. I was like, oh, shit! I know you!
That's cool.
So
Jason's awesome.
I sat and talked to him for a little bit. Those guys in Minds Horizon, they're great dudes.
They are. They're one of my favorites.
Great dudes, great music. Check them out. Minds Horizon. Plug. Hashtag plug.
Hashtag plug.
So Periphery.
Yeah, so Periphery.
Okay, story.
I think they're going by Polyphia nowadays.
Story behind this is story behind the laughter is our friend Nate. We've talked about Nate on some of the other podcasts. We work, myself and Brandon from Journey into Comics, Journey to Wrestling, Game Addicts podcast. We work with Nate, and he's hilarious. He says bro like it's a period in a sentence, and he's just a fun guy. Well, he was there. He managed to score a ticket for $60.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, he said there were people offering for $120, $80, some all kinds of way up there. But he managed to score one for $60. And so I see him there. I'm like, oh fuck yeah, Nate made it. And after we watched Polyphia, we're hanging out in the bar area and drinking some beers. I'm checking my Snapchat. I see in the Snapchat stories Nate posted, and what I see is a Snapchat video of Polyphia, but instead of saying Polyphia, it says he captioned it Periphery in all caps.
And we were sure that it was just some really clever joke.
Maybe you guys.
So
I immediately knew. I was like, oh man, come on, Nate.
He doesn't have any idea.
He had no idea. So we go back in right before the Contortionist plays, and I look. The Contortionist is actually playing at this point. And I go, dude, Nate, how'd you like Periphery? He goes, they were pretty badass, bro.
Totally serious.
And then I just started busting out. I think you were laughing too.
Oh, yeah.
We were both laughing.
And he did not get it.
And he's like, what, bro?
Okay.
What's up, bro? What's funny? What's so funny, bro? And I was like, dude, that wasn't Periphery. He's like, oh, what? Who was it? I was like, that was Polyphia. Oh. My bad, bro. But so we watched The Contortionist, and they're always badass.
Totally awesome.
I dug them a lot. I saw they just came out with a new CD, didn't they?
They sure did. Clairvoyant.
Yeah, I'll have to check them out. They recently. Okay, so have you heard of Nail the Mix?
No.
It's this service where mixers and producers and recording studio people they can get tracks, like the actual studio stems from bands. They had it from Machine Head, Meshuggah, all like that shit, and they're the actual stems, and you get to mix it yourself. You get to mix the song yourself.
Right.
And they have, it's a month-long thing. It's every month. It's a subscription service, so you pay monthly. You get that month's stems and every month's stems before that, so whatever songs you want. And then throughout the month, you have like these classes or these live streams where you sit with the actual producer of the song, and they'll go through their process of mixing it and answer questions. And at the end of the month, they actually have a contest for whose mix is the best.
Yeah, our mutual buddy Dan Favors has been doing that.
Yeah. I did it once. I didn't. By did it once, I mean I downloaded the stems and I didn't participate in anything else.
Oh.
But I went into it thinking, oh, cool, I can get these stems and just have all the stems and just remove the vocals and do vocal covers.
Right.
It is in the contract or the agreement that you cannot use any of it. It's just for mixing purposes and learning purposes.
Damn it.
The whole point of it is to have these professionally done stems, and so you can see how much easier it is when you have professionally done stuff to work with.
Right.
And it's so much easier to learn. It's so much easier to, like, if the band you're recording puts out, like, an awesome level of professionalism and all that shit, you're going to have a much easier time. I mean, I think that's pretty cut and dry. You should know that anyways. But this coming month's Nail the Mix is The Contortionist.
Is it?
Yeah. I can't remember what song, but I just thought I'd mention that.
Nice.
Well, I guess plugging Nail the Mix. Anyway.
Plugged.
Hashtag plug. So, go on.
Let's
hear yours.
Really like The Contortionist. Seen them a couple times. I think we talked last time
Yeah.
about how we'd seen them at the
August Burns Red. Which was my first time hearing them.
Ever?
Yeah.
I was happy he busted out some of the heavy vocals. He doesn't really do that very often anymore. So, and then, without further ado, Between the Buried and Me came out and just slammed right into Colors. They played the whole thing front to back, and I've, like I said, I've seen
no stopping. That's
Nope.
I mean that album was meant to be played straight through.
Yep.
So much like Parallax, I think. Yeah. And I'm not familiar with Colors. I think there's only 2 songs on there that I'm familiar with. No, 3 songs. Prequel to the sequel, Son of Nothing, and White Walls.
Mm-hmm.
So when Son of Nothing came out, I was like, I know this one.
Okay, here we go.
I was stoked. I was like, finally, familiarity.
It was the best thing ever. Been waiting for that moment for so long.
And I've wanted to listen to that album, but I never got around to it. So when I saw that this concert was happening, and then I eventually was going, I made a decision that I wasn't going to listen to it. I was going to experience it live. I was going to experience Colors for the first time live. And I was not let down.
Yeah, it was just not I'm weird. Like, I'll sit there in the middle of someone's set, and there's always that tipping point where I'm like, all right, attention lost. It's time to move on, guys. And
just didn't happen.
Didn't come. Never comes. It's happened sometimes when I've seen them in the past, especially when they're playing like Coma Ecliptic, when I saw them do that the whole thing through, I'm just like, man, this is getting a little drug on, perhaps.
Yeah,
but not Colors. Not Colors.
Coma Ecliptic's not like one of their amazing albums, I would say. I don't know. I haven't listened to it.
I've listened to it a shit ton, and I like it more than I like a lot of albums.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not exactly how I like my BTBM.
Yeah.
I like my BTBM.
There's no screaming in that album, is there?
There's some.
Okay.
Maybe 30 or 40%.
Oh, okay. That's not.
So that's why it was such a refreshing thing to see him do 80% heavy vocals. And I mean, I don't consider. I never thought about like I'm gonna do vocals like him, but he's such an inspiration to how I do vocals.
I remember years ago. I heard it. I was listening to Between the Buried and Me, and then at some point, I think I was listening to Parallax 2, and then at some point, one of your Weed B tracks came on my shuffle, and I heard it. I was like, God damn. The influence is definitely there.
Yeah, I don't mean for it to be there, but
it just happens.
It just happened, yeah.
Yeah, I remember throughout the set, I was like, I wonder where we are in the album because I don't know it.
I always knew, almost to the minute. I'm like, all right, we're about 37 minutes into this thing.
Yeah, I kept looking at my watch and just to see like where we were at in the album because you said it was like an hour, 6-minute album or something like that.
Yeah, just over a minute. Just over an hour. I'm like, very really brief show, guys.
Very brief show.
We were in and out.
Yeah, so like I kept looking at my watch because I was like, oh, I wonder if not that I wanted it to be over, but I was just curious as to where in the album we were. So I was really shocked when White Walls came on, and I was like, oh shit,
we're here.
We're here. We're at the end.
You just weren't ready to be at the end.
No, I was not.
They could have just kept on going.
For some reason, I thought, because Viridian comes right before White Balls, right?
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, I thought that was a much longer song. It's only 2 minutes.
Yeah.
I looked. And, wow, I did my Wikipedia while I was there. I think during the set, I was just looking at, because White Walls came on, I'm like, what? I could have swore, like, sense? Viridian was like 10, 15 minutes long. But, nope. So yeah, White Walls came on. That song kicks your ass.
All the way through.
That song kicks your ass. Then they went off the stage.
Yep, for a minute.
For a minute. They got their little breather. And of course everybody's chanting BT Bam, BT Bam. And yeah, so
it was magical.
I remember you commenting on the people clapping.
Yeah.
Which is fun cuz like they weren't even like encouraged to clap. They just did it.
Yep.
Those are the fans. The people that are fucking... I mean, if you're going to see Colors, I'm guessing you're a fucking fan.
Oh, yeah.
You're not just like... Oh,
sold out show.
Yeah, you're not like, oh,
you didn't
BT
stumble
Bam's
into
playing.
the show.
BT Blam's playing. I'll go check them out. No, you're there for fucking
You're
Colors.
dedicated. You bought the tickets the day that they went on sale because...
Probably the day they sold out.
They did. the first show sold out day one, and then they decided to do a second show, and that one sold out within a day.
Yeah, I remember I was sitting at the mall waiting to get my haircut, and I was just scrolling through Facebook, and I see Cody. He's like, "Fuck, the Chicago show for BT Bam sold out." I'm like, "Ah, fuck, I was gonna go to that." And he's like, "I guess I'll just go to the Cleveland show."
Right.
So he went to the Cleveland show, but no, I remember texting you. I'm like, "Hey, dude, I don't know if you got tickets yet or not, but it's sold out now." And you're like, "I have 4." I'm like, here is $30. Here's my money. Spot secured. What was their encore song?
Mordecai.
Mordecai? I thought it was something else. Was it?
It was Mordecai.
Okay. And that's on what album?
I believe Silent Circus.
Okay.
So it's old.
Okay, so yeah. So it was cool to actually, hear them talk to us.
Yeah, for that one brief moment.
For that brief moment where they're actually like, hey, thanks for coming out and enjoying the show and Colors and clapping. That clapping was awesome, just seeing everybody so into it and clapping these awesome rhythms.
Right,
like,
that's the comment I made.
Yeah,
you're like, they're not following like his lead. They just know that that's how it goes.
Yeah,
they listened to this album
they're doing
thousands of times.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, that was it.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, I remember. It was a fun show. I wish I knew the material better because I probably would have enjoyed it way more. But it was great for my first BT Bam experience. It was great for my first Colors experience. And so I mean, would I put this in my top shows? No. But it was fun.
Good luck.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Game Addicts podcast, the show where we talk about the modern and retro video games that we play and collect. I'm your host, Brando, joined at the hip today That would suck, wouldn't
That would be odd. That's a little awkward.
Is this podcast player too, Mike? How are you?
Pretty good. How you doing?
I'm doing great. This is episode 50.
Yes, it is.
Pretty
Big 5-0.
Oh man, it's a great milestone to hit because some podcasts don't even make it past episode 10. They start, they lose their steam. You know, this is essentially the podcast I've always wanted to do, is talk about games, especially when I started collecting.
Right.
And, of course, you and me kind of started at separate times, because you came in a little bit after me.
I'm still a slow burn.
That's what I'm doing right now. I got my big, I didn't have any responsibilities. I had a house. I didn't have a kid, and I had a bunch of extra money. We're working a bunch of extra overtime. And so I'm just like, oh, let's go out and spend a couple $100.
Which
is
all gone now.
the
overtime is
gone. Maybe one day it'll return in some form or another. A few there. Now, I also want to say this. We said on the last episode, so I fucked our lights up.
Yeah.
And we haven't got it fixed yet. So if you're on YouTube, I'm over here. So hopefully.
In the dark.
Oh, it's a little dark over here. We have the window open. We have some light coming in. Like the old days before we started using the lights.
And multiple lights on in the room.
If you're on podcast services, guess what? This don't affect you. So
you
just
don't
listen
care.
in and hear our sexy voices. I think your voice is sexy, Mike.
Wow. This just got a little weird.
Podcasts have to get weird sometimes.
That's true.
So we're going to talk about the Game Boy. And this is not my original Game Boy. This is the original DMG model.
I know where mine is.
I mean, this thing is massive. I've tried playing on this one.
It's hard.
It sucks. Not into it. No more. This is actually Matt Milliken's. He donated this to me.
Yeah.
He donated this, and I think he donated like Centipede Millipede. He said his dad used to play it.
Huh.
And
it's pretty rough.
It is rough. It has seen some play. And so I have it around for collector purposes at this point. But that's pretty much...
hey, just be thankful it doesn't weigh as much as the Game Gear did.
Yeah, I mean, of course the screen, it's a black and white graphics, but they're on like a green...
Yeah.
Like overlay type screen, so it looks kind of like, it just looks gray and black.
Yeah.
Or no, green and black. Now, this was released in Japan April 21st, 1989. Over here, it came out just a few months later, July 31st. 89. I did not get mine until, 93, 94.
I still need to get my first game ever for that system.
Yeah, there was a...
Killer Instinct.
I couldn't remember if it was that or Mortal Kombat. My first game, when I got mine, okay, so my mom got it at a garage sale. And it came with a zipper-up carrying pack. And it had a magnifying thing. It had an AC adapter, I want to say. Which that's actually that's not the AC adapter. Where is it? Is it over here? Extension. AC adapter is over here on the left side.
Mm-hmm.
Right by the contrast. So it had an AC adapter, and it had a little small collection of games, which of course was Super Mario Land, Caesar's Palace, Turtles Fall, the Foot Clan, Super C.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So it was like, the Contra. Or no, I'm sorry, Operation C.
I was going to say, I think it was Operation C.
Super C was the NES version of that, but yeah, Operation C.
What are you doing, dog meat?
Hey, puppy, how you doing?
Yeah, it's just like you.
Man, I can't remember if that was it. I think I might have been it. But I got like a little small collection, and
hey, no.
And that's kind of, buddy. If you want to be on the podcast, you gotta come over here, pal.
Hey,
come here, buddy. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? This dog is like all over our podcast network.
Oh yeah,
just hanging out. So yeah, man. Garage sale, got my first DMG unit. Thought it was the greatest thing ever. I really did. Like, I was like easily impressed.
So, I think I said this story before. I think I said it on the last podcast, but when I got mine, I played the crap out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I always used on Killer Instinct the skeleton guy, whatever his name is. I can't remember.
I can't remember either.
A lot of people use him because in the Super Nintendo version, you could transform him into Iodon, the final boss. You could transform him into him. But I used him just to beat the game. So my goal forever was to beat the game without ever being hit at all.
Mm-hmm.
Which you could do with him because you could throw your shield up. Last boss. Last attack. I've been trying for weeks and weeks and weeks. And he hit me as I made my final blow. And I got mad because I was only like... Jeez, I don't even know how old it was. See... 8. Boom! Head to screen. And it just turned everything into that, how they used to back in the day, like when you broke the screen, it all turned black. Everything was black, and you could see like all the stuff coming out of it. So I instantly dropped it off my bed, because I had a bunk bed, and jumped down and ran in upstairs and told my dad, I was like, I dropped my Game Boy, I need a new one. He just looked at me like, no. And I never got another one again.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
Sorry about your pain. My original...
You get out of there, Ziggy. You're not going to be on this podcast.
Yeah,
No.
he is.
No.
He's like, I like your bag. I'll put my games back in my bag. How about that? And I'm going to put it on the table.
But yeah, that was my original Game Boy. Eventually I got the clamshell.
Of the Advanced?
Yes.
Okay, it's because I had the original model of the Game Boy, and there was... The Game Boy had a couple different revisions for the original hardware that came out.
Couple.
And well, because the first revision was the ones that were see-through.
Yep.
And they had a black one, and a yellow one, and maybe a red one, maybe a green one is as well. But I believe I had it here. Game Boy, not that one. It's up here. It's called the Play It Loud series, released in '95.
Huh.
So 6 years after this original model was released, they finally said, let's throw out some different ones. So they released ones, and they had as I said, a bunch of different ones. Oh, they had a white, blue,
green, black, yellow. Huh.
But the Game Boy Pocket, which is basically the original, shrunk down
to about this size.
Yeah, about this size, about the color size. The color is just slightly larger, but the Pocket was a little bit more square.
Right.
I had a buddy that had one, and it ran on the original model runs off of 4 AA batteries. Holy crap! I do not miss the days of the battery.
No.
Let's put it that way. Now, the Pocket ran off of 2 AAAs. How you doing, Kitty? Kitty just trying to interrupt us and be on our podcast. How dare you? Trying to talk about the Pocket, man.
If you're up here, he wants your attention because the dog's not up here.
Yeah. The Pocket has a smaller link port because that was something that with the handheld that they introduced was the link cable where you can battle each other to 2-player games.
Right.
Which is actually pretty cool and innovative way to do that. Now, granted, you would each need a system.
Right.
And each need a copy of the game that you were doing that with. But you would have... the Pocket one was notoriously... It's like, hey, this is a new version of the link cable that you're going to have to then use this thing to connect to your original.
Yeah.
Something we had issues with... playing Pokemon much later. But then something that the Pocket did is that it actually had a real black and white screen instead of the black and green or whatever you want to call it. Here on the Wikipedia here they call it pea soup.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I've never heard of that term used before. However, here's one that I almost bought once. Because they had it here at our Game Exchange, which no longer exists here. The Game Boy Light. Now, the Game Boy Light was basically a model released in Japan that was slightly bigger, around the same size as the Pocket, but it had a luminescent backlight.
Mm-hmm.
It was the first backlit Game Boy. It was still in black and white, but then you could play in the dark or hard to see environments. So they had it, and unfortunately, it was gone so fast. The cool thing about it is that it was also region free.
Yes.
With Japanese and U.S. games. So while it was Japanese system, you could play all the American games. Very badass for that. Now the games for this era. Well, actually, you know what? Let's go and we're going to talk about sales. We're going to talk about the sales because the original Game Boy was introduced at a U.S. price of $89.95.
Yeah.
Of course, in the year of 1989. The units sold. You're not going to like this.
Why?
All right, because this units sold worldwide, including Game Boy, Play It Loud, Game Boy Pocket, Game Boy Light, and color units. So they're all considered a part of the same system. So I knew you weren't going to like that.
No. Because they don't ever show the specific sales of each individual one anymore. No. The thing with the Game Boy, with Nintendo, and their handhelds, is that they do revisions. And I'm okay with that. But it's a whole new... it's the same cartridge, but new.
Mm-hmm.
But when you jump from the Game Boy to Game Boy Color, to me, that's considered a whole new system because you can still play the old games on it, and it adds color to some of those games. But essentially, it is a new system.
It is because the Game Boy Color model came out in '98, so nearly 9 years after the original came out. And some of the old games do take advantage of the color, like you said. But there's also games that are unique to the color that do not work on the original console. And because the color, I'll just go through here and tell you what it says on here, because it actually says that the color, the original Game Boy, it has a custom 8-bit processor made by Sharp, considered a hybrid between Intel 8080 and the Z-Log.
That's not where I got my handle from.
Idiot. I know, it's Z-I. You idiot.
I know. I want to see if this has color.
This has more. It has I just saw it, dang it. Where did it go?
What are you not turning on for?
Because it's not charged.
That's wrong.
I just saw that it has like double or triple the processing power of the original. And it has some more RAM in it.
Kirby's Dream Land will not turn on in my system, my clamshell. See if you can turn on your clamshell.
This version?
Huh.
It's not wanting to work. I like how we blow in them still, and yet.
What's it say right on all the cartridges? Do not blow. Is it in color? That's all I wanted to see.
Oh, well, dadgummit, it
won't play.
It better. I played it not that long ago.
On that?
I don't know.
There it went. It is in color.
Yeah. Because then
I had this game.
He's in pink. And then you have
the floors.
Wow. It
does not want to work.
It probably needs cleaned.
This one's a little haggard.
Oh no, we don't have our lights. I can't.
Right. I don't know. Like this one, I'm surprised this one plays.
This one? Well, fine, you do it.
Well,
you do it, damn it.
Hey, this one does.
No, it don't.
No.
It has a black bar.
Anyways, continue.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say that, like, technically the color is not just a revision. The color is like in modern times, it would be like the new 3DS.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where it actually has, like, you know, more RAM and more things, and then the exclusive games. So, as I was saying with sales numbers, as we started so long ago, combined Game Boy, Game Boy Pocket, Game Boy Light, Game Boy Color, total sales worldwide 118.69 million.
Of that time, that is unbelievable.
I mean, that is the...
And in serious note, that is amazing for the time. Think of how many are still floating around today.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you also have to think that, like, altogether, between the original Game Boy and then the color was discontinued in 2003.
Right.
And so there was obviously still retail units. So from 89 to 2003, about 118 million units sold.
That's really
good. That's great. That's fantastic. So what we're going to do now, before we get into the advanced,
yes,
let's talk about some of the original.
Which I only own 2 currently.
Well, shame on you, I guess.
No, don't shame me. Don't shame me, because the ones that I want,
shame.
You keep buying.
Shame.
You bought that one from me.
This one?
Yes.
Kirby's?
Yes.
Bought this from you?
Well, you didn't buy it from me. We were at Disc Replay, and you saw it, and you're like, mine.
No, it was 2.
No, it was one. It was one. It was one because I didn't want to.
No. You know why? Because this is my original.
Really?
I haven't rebought Kirby. No.
No.
That's my. I have a few games here that are still my original, and most of them that are not. But but no, this Kirby's Dream Land is original. Kirby's Dream Land 2. I snagged this because I saw this at Game Exchange, and it was gone when I went back the next day.
Yeah.
And that was back like last Christmas when I was doing game stuff. Give me that game.
You didn't bring it up.
We got you distracted me by throwing out accusations.
She got an axe to the face.
Mm-hmm.
That bitch Lizzie Borden her. Please tell me you know who Lizzie Borden is. She killed her stepmom and her dad with an axe.
Oh,
and she was acquitted during her trial because they thought that women weren't capable of cold-blooded murder. But, like, you can see crime scene photos from, like, the 1800s. But they're, they don't have faces anymore.
That's awesome. Okay, I need to...
You need to watch the Lizzie Borden thing with Christina Ricci on Netflix. It was good. I mean, it's not accurate, but it was good.
Okay, I'll read about it first and then I'll watch it.
Yes. Oh, Patty's sleepy.
See? I wouldn't wear my fucking pants either. Because
I mean, you would get wet hems for sure.
And muddy.
Yeah.
You could have clean pants now. When you come back, you don't have to worry about your pants.
This is true. But then your ankles would get all muddy. But I suppose they might anyway.
Yeah.
Thank goodness he had enough forethought to put the topper on his Jeep because it was not on when he left. This unnecessary diner scene with the very stereotypical diner worker lady with
love
like
the glasses,
super curly hair, and the most gigantic glasses you could ever imagine. And I bet her name is like Flo or something. Oh, he put a shirt on. And pants. He's no longer wearing jorts.
That's unfortunate.
He just looks like a pedophile now.
I know.
He looked less like a pedophile.
With the jorts on.
Yeah.
Shockingly. He still has no knife in his little holster.
It might just be a little pocket knife.
I'm telling you, it's made for one of those, like, big knives. Like the killer was using. You keep that 75 cents, Sandy. Goodbye. You're gonna die. You won't live to see the morning light.
You're just dead. You're just as dead as he is.
Oh,
Isn't
he's so
he the
sweet.
cutest? So last night, I was too lazy to put my shirt back on, so I decided to just go to bed. And he got up and he was on my back for so long. He was so warm. And I was starting to fall asleep, and then he got up and it was super cold, and I woke up and I was like, oh my god. So then I had to cover myself up with blanket because I didn't have him anymore.
I've been going to bed with 3 blankets and then waking up like sweating in the middle of the night, even though our air conditioner is on. And so I have to take the top blanket off.
Okay, then why go to bed with 3 blankets?
Because it's cold when I first go to bed, but then as I sleep, I warm up under the blanket. Stop it! Your hands are so cold.
They're kind of warm.
No. My hands are cold.
They're warm.
Well, to you, because your hands are freezing. Like your wrist feels warm. I have pants on and you don't. We've just been sitting here touching our hands to different parts of the other person's body to see if they can tell the temperature. That's not how it works. That hand is so much colder. It's like ice.
I don't think hand jobs would be pleasurable for me.
I mean, friction creates heat.
But at first it'd just be frozen.
Ew, that part would be over pretty quick. I like how the hand snuck out from behind the shower curtain, like, oh, no, definitely not. I'm just gonna make her look over here. So I can not kill her at this moment in time.
Look how everyone has actual raincoats.
Oh, I know. Not like a fucking Dollar Tree poncho. It's a legit slicker.
Or just me, just wear whatever you're wearing and fuck it.
Get wet. She has very nice legs. I will give her that.
Right? They're so long. I wish I had long legs.
You're just short.
I know.
Can you imagine if you had longer legs with the same size torso? You would look really weird.
I feel like I have a really long torso compared to my legs.
I don't think so.
So I'm just short. Okay, well, if I were taller, that would be nice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, speaking of short, I can't remember what episode it was. The one where I was wearing the thong, where my butt crack was not long enough.
I think that was episode 3.
So anyway.
Maybe. I don't know.
I bought this new underwear, and it has, for whatever reason, this little cutout in the back for your butt crack to poke out. I don't know why that's sexy, but they looked really comfy. And they are comfy. But my butt crack is not long enough to poke through the hole. So it's just my back, so it just looks like there's a giant fucking hole in my underwear.
We need to figure out some way to grow your butt crack.
No, I think it's so long, but nothing fits. Everything's like, your butt crack's just not good enough for me. I'm gonna be up here.
I'm so sorry that your butt crack is not long enough for your new underwear. It's just very disappointing.
It looks so fucking weird. It's a good thing that no one's gonna look at them. So I can just feel their comfort. And the hole in the back.
Mm-hmm. These are really strange candle holders. They look like gravy boats.
They look like tiny porta potties if you were to cut them in half.
It's a really strange correlation there. Just think it looks like a gravy boat.
It does.
Because I think it is a gravy boat.
I just looked at it from the top, Caitlin. I'm really high.
Uh-huh.
And the top, that's just all that came to mind. Because it's blue. I saw
This part is
today.
creepier when you find out who the killer is.
I don't know why I keep taking cottage cheese, eating a bite, putting it back on the table, reaching for it, and just doing this circle of constantly
Just leave
moving.
it on your lap.
But I don't want to hold it the whole time.
And maybe take more than one bite.
2 bites.
2 bites. 2 bits. Okay, now it looks like a cornucopia. It's very strange. I don't understand the shape at all.
Oh, hello.
She did it again.
The controller is so sensitive.
It is. You like breathe on it and it's like 1.5. Okay, sure.
It's like, I'm a clitoris. Sorry, that's just where my brain went. Speaking
So you have to touch it for like 15 minutes before it does anything?
I can get myself off in a minute, Caitlin.
We're not all so lucky.
I know what I like. So I have this new screenshot of porn to show you.
Yay!
I didn't really want to watch this video, but I saw the thumbnail and I was really intrigued and knew I had to get a screenshot. By the way, that is a Jesus butt plug.
She's got like a fucking squid tattoo coming out of her butthole. It looks like the squid's head's gonna like pop through any second.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that was a thumbnail, Hinda.
Wow.
Can you imagine how much money and how much time went into that tattoo?
And how long she would have had to hold that position to get that tattoo, because it is all up in her butt crack.
And her butthole.
Literally her butthole.
That is the focal point.
She probably has inner anus tattoo.
So, I wonder how much anal she does in order for her to want to get a tattoo like this. That has to be like her favorite thing.
Right?
But I don't think I can
I mean,
do
it's
that.
very well done, but I will admit that at first I thought it was Spider-Man. Because it's red and blue. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh my god, I see it now.
It looks like Spider-Man went splat against a wall.
I really wish we could post this on social media so that
Oh my god,
everyone
me
could
too.
enjoy it.
We would get age restricted for sure.
Or just kicked off forever.